All right, let's get this rolling. It is Thursday, January 20th, 6:04 p.m. This is the Board of Finance meeting. This meeting is being recorded and will be available to the public in compliance with state law. If you're attending remotely, please remember to mute your microphone unless you're speaking. Anyone participating remotely should state their name and title if applicable, the outside of each occasion that the person is speaking. All votes taken, which any member of the body are promoting remotely, should be taken by roll call unless the vote is unanimous. Chat feature will not be utilized or considered during this meeting. We'll take a quick roll call. Rebecca O'Donnell.
Here.
Greg Benno.
I'm here.
Mary Hall.
Here.
Steve Kirsch.
Here.
Dane, I don't believe is with us tonight. Said he had a conflict. Joe Cobsay, so I was already here.
Here.
Ron Badowski.
Yeah, I'm here, Joe. Mike.
And Heidi Mead.
I don't know who I'm answering to.
Exactly. You don't know who you're talking to, but that's all right. All right. So we are called to order. Consent calendar, approval of meeting minutes and voting record for December 16th. Someone want to make a motion?
Steve Kirsch, I move to approve the consent calendar.
I second. This is Greg Benno.
Thank you, Greg. Any questions, concerns? Yes.
Mike, there was actually, so I don't know, I think we may have to pull it off the consent calendar. It stated that there was no treasurer's report, and Patrick was not there last meeting, but there was a treasurer's report in the packet.
Got it. So it was in the packet, not presented in person. Can we just make that a change, amendment to the minutes and still approve it?
Yeah, I'll move that we amend the minutes from the last meeting as Ron noted.
Oh, yeah. Terrific. All right. So this is our new trick is if it's unanimous, we can just
Yep.
say, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Terrific. All right. First selectman, unfortunately, asked me to share with everybody he's not able to make it tonight. He did have a death in the family this week. So our condolences go out to the first selectman, but he's dealing with some family issues right now, but there was nothing urgent for him to cover. So he asked that we just take care of it without him. So I appreciate that. If anybody, I'm sure, would express their condolences to him, I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Public participation. Anybody on the call that wants to speak? All right, hearing none, we'll move through. 3-year budget model. Ron, you want to give us any update on that?
Mike, there is none at this time. So it's...
That makes it easy.
Yeah.
Mike.
We are going to roll out.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Mike, this is Mary. Ron, this is Mary Hall. At the last meeting, I said that I volunteered to help you with it. How can I get with you or work with you? I know it's been the end of the year and it's been the holidays and whatever, but is there anything that I can do to jump in and help you?
Mary,
I don't have the answer today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the ask. Right now, it's just a matter of, I'm kind of in the, I've got the perfect storm going on between the Board of Ed budget wrapping up,
okay,
the audits wrapping up, and the town budgets with the first selectman. So it's not even, I wouldn't even have time to spend with you to kind of get you going on it. So
okay, so then I'll just wait for you to reach out to me and let me know how I can help. Okay, Ron?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Ron, you want to roll into new business on the reappointment of O'Connor Davies?
Sure. So
because I know Rebecca had a question on this too, I think, on the fees. So if you have any information on that too at the same time.
I do actually.
Perfect.
So I did reach out to O'Connor Davies to see if they would, be interested in extending the contract one more year before I broached the subject with you guys, and they did not have an issue with that. My thought was, we've extended the contract now. I think the original contract was for 3 years. I think we've extended it for 3 one-year terms. So the thought was, in the environment we're in, to extend it another year, not only from an internal capacity standpoint, but I'm not sure how many firms we get to bid on it right now anyway.
Yeah, I think that could be a challenge, getting bids in right now with the situation that's running through at least my office and a lot of other offices right now. We're a little limited on staff.
Well, there are staffing issues out
Yes.
there for sure. So I
did
think
they speak at all about fees?
I did not get to that point with them, Mike. They've usually been in the area of a 2 to 3% increase in the past. With the environment we're in right now, I don't, could it be a little higher than that? I did speak with the director of finance for the town of Newtown, called me yesterday to ask what we were paying for fees. They're in the low 70s. We're right now right around there, right around 69, 70. And that's all in Board of Ed and town for the entire audit. They're looking to extend their contract with their current auditors for an additional 3 years.
Got it. Just for fun, who did they use? Do you know?
I didn't ask him that.
Got it.
I didn't ask him that. I could actually go on their website and
find it, I'm sure.
See who signed the return, who signed the financial statement.
Ron. Can I ask a question? It's Mary.
Okay, yeah, you're unmuted. I think you're muted there for a while, Mary.
Okay. Ron, is there any opportunity to discuss with them, maybe going for a flat no increase if we signed for more than 1 year?
It couldn't hurt to ask.
Okay.
For sure. I think them, like anyone else, I think the response in the past, because we've asked them to try and hold their fee flat in the past. And I do know that, they've got increases in labor costs just like anyone else. So I don't
think I'd be comfortable going beyond the 1 year, because we are 6 years now, and it's probably time to go out for an RFP. If it was normal situation, I would push to go out for an RFP. So I'm happy to extend 1 year. I don't want to extend more than 1 year without going out for an RFP. I don't know what everybody else's feelings are, but 6 years, same auditor, it's probably, we think they're okay. We don't think they're spectacular. So I would say it might be time to certainly at least see what are the other options are out there and talk to some of the other towns around us.
Yeah, this is Steve Kirsch. Yeah, I would go for a 1 year extension at this point. I guess I'm also under the assumption we've had no real issues with them, so there'd be no reason not to go with them as opposed to forcing the issue. So yeah, I'd be comfortable getting a 1 year increase. I think we need to have Ron come back to us with what their increase is before we have anybody sign.
Yeah, we don't need to, we have no obligation or requirement to, this is just a discussion point. It's not for a vote right now. I just wanted to get it out in front of everybody to find out what the comfort level is and, see where everybody's feelings were. So this is just kind of a testing the waters, floating the balloon tonight, and then we can get the numbers together and, make it formal for next month, if that's okay, Ron.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't even want them to, put a pencil to the paper on price yet until I, saw what your guys' appetite was.
Right.
Yeah, this
All
is
right,
Rebecca. I'm supportive of, continuing for the 1 year.
Awesome, Rebecca. Thank you.
Yep.
So Steve, Greg, any opinions on this just before we send Ron on his way?
No, I support going for the 1 year and review it in a year or so, looking for an RFP.
Perfect. All right. Then I think that's your marching orders, Ron. Go to it. Beat them up.
Sounds good.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. Review of 2022 financials. Ron, anything you want to call out here?
I mean, I'll entertain questions. Or taxes are tracking well. Let me revenues. No real issues on revenues. And on the expense side, we're I'll wrap in town and board of ed. There's no real issues right now. Over the next month or so, as the utility usage comes in, it's if the winter stays the way it is, and as you know, we're not locked in with our fuel rates, so there might be a little concern there. I don't think it's. I'm not in panic mode. But if you were to ask me right now, utilities could
utilities could get messy because I'm sure we're running a lot
messy.
Heavier. I think the only saving grace so far is the winter hasn't been terrible yet. I don't want to jinx us, but obviously the next 6 weeks are crunch time. So we'll see what we run up with. Anybody have questions for Ron on specific budget reports?
I do. This is Mary Hall. Ron, on the BOF contingency, there's that $182,000. Is that are you guys anticipating that that's going to be used?
So you guys will be fully aware if it is, because that contingency is by charter. It needs to go. I think it's got to go before council, then
council and the board of finance.
And
right?
The board of finance got to get approved. At this point, no, I would not anticipate using it.
Thank you.
But just so you know, Mary, that's a decision that we make, not Ron. So if it was to be used, it would have to be. We propose it goes. The first selectman submits it to council, then it comes to us.
But I think what Ron is saying, and help me, Mike, that it doesn't appear that it's going to be needed.
Correct. There's no indication right now, but again, obviously, we're still 5 months out for the end of the year, and with the world we're living in today, anything can surprise us. But
I know.
Fingers crossed, everything looks good right now.
Okay. I have another question on the HR insurance, and I think I asked this the last meeting, and I'm seeing a delta. We've spent 2.2 million of the 3.6 in the first 6 months of the year, and it's anticipated the requisition takes it right to the 100%. But do you think we're going to be over in that because we spent 2.3 so far in 6 months, and we're only anticipating another 1.3 million?
No, we do not anticipate we're going to be over. And again, a lot of that has to do again with and I think this was discussed last month with the insurance. There's always a catch up with the employee contribution amount.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any other questions? Hearing none. Tax collector.
Hello, everybody. Everything seems to be trending very well. Collections are up a lot this month. We're still waiting for the banks to come in. So last month we were a little bit higher than the previous year, which is good. And again, we are in collections right now, and we'll have another better position at the end of this month where we stand. But motor vehicles is coming in very well, and personal property is low, but we have a few big large personal property accounts that equate to that number that is not delinquent. It's just that they have not come in yet. And motor vehicles trending, I think currently I'm over 70%, collected, almost 75%. So And then after collections are over, before the next thing, I'll have the reminder notices out early February. So once collections are over, we get the reminder notices out. So we are right on top of that. So we should have good numbers by the end of next month. And then February, we'll have the delinquent notices going out. So we'll be right on top, and lien notices go out in February.
All right, terrific. Appreciate it. Anybody have any other specifics?
Any questions?
No questions, just a comment. This is Rebecca. So I just, for the board, I went back to this time last year. The percentages for collected versus uncollected, they're almost identical. So, I mean, I love the charts, Debbie. So thank you for continuing to put those together.
No, they are wonderful and appreciated. So that it really is. But yeah, and I noticed the same thing when I was looking through it.
Okay.
It's tracking nicely. So I like consistency. That's always a good thing in finance.
Yeah.
Terrific. All right. The treasurer's report, Ron, is in the packet, correct? For the record?
Yeah. So actually, this month, Mike, no, it was.
Pat
he had put the treasurer's report in, and it was kind of a 2-month report. Patrick and I did touch base this morning, and I've talked to him a couple times while he's been away. Everything's pretty much status quo. The stiff rate since the end of December has fluctuated between 0.09% and 0.11%. So it's not a lot of movement there. Our CDs were in at 0.2%. So again, not a lot to be happy about there, but we're almost doubling what the current stiff rate is. And he's at about 57% of his budget right now. And as we know, his budget, was only $80,000 this past year.
I was going to say it was dramatically lower. I mean, I think that's one of the things we'll be talking about come, April is, I think we could see a rate change in the environment in the next, 15 months for sure. So it's one of those things that will be a point of discussion at the budget time, because I think we could see some movement there.
And he should be back in town next week, so he'll be around for next month's meeting.
Perfect. All right. Anything else on the Board of Ed?
Yeah. So no, Board of Ed, nothing's really changed since last month. Again, the currently, and I don't want to take some of Joe's thunder away, but currently
don't take all of Joe's thunder.
Exactly. Yeah. No real issues. The only point of concern, and it's not a big point of concern, is the same thing on the town side, are the utilities. So I'll just be keeping a close eye on those over the next couple of months.
Terrific. All right. So Joe, can we move it to you?
Sure thing. Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. I just want to report out and just let everybody know that the Board of Education did meet on Tuesday and did approve our budget. My initial proposed budget to the Board of Ed, and I know I talked a lot about probably the two biggest drivers of our budget were enrollment. We've seen pretty significant enrollment increases, primarily centered at the elementary schools, and addressing the social and emotional needs of our kids. Coming out of the pandemic, knowing that social and emotional needs were on the rise before the pandemic, but the pandemic really kind of exacerbated it, and most likely as a result of a lot of the isolation that has occurred, especially the first year and a half of the pandemic. So the proposed budget was a 5.39% increase over this current year. The budget that was approved by the Board of Education the other night was a 4.75% increase. And just to explain how they got there with that, I know in the past I've talked about the two big grants that we have received in town or in the district have been the ESSER 2 grants and the ARP ESSER grants. Between those two grants, we've received about $1.6 million. to date this year, or I shouldn't say to date this year, but the total spend for this current fiscal year for a number of staff members. Remember, we had to add kindergarten teachers, elementary teachers as a result of enrollment, behavior techs. We did some other had some other smaller staffing requests with the ESSER 2 funds, and then some of the programming we did to try to help remediate some of the learning loss that was happening. From that this year, we will spend about $823,000, a little bit more than half of the $1.6 million that we have for the two grants. That left us with a balance of just over $792,000. What the Board of Education agreed to the other night was to, with my initial ask, was to reduce that ask by half of that remaining balance. So that half of that $792,000 that was left, I think it's 396, a little over $396,000 would remain in the grant, and we would use the other half, the other 396,000, to try to decrease the tax burden and decrease the education budget. So like I said, the budget as it stands now is at a 4.75% increase over the current year.
Okay, terrific. And just so everybody's aware, if you didn't follow it, I did speak at the Board of Ed meeting the other night. Again, I tried to just share that obviously, the Board of Finance is not looking to hurt the Board of Ed in any way, and we've always been supportive of what they need to do. We're just looking at funding sources primarily. And, this is one funding source. I did suggest using all of the grant money to try to mitigate the increase, but it's early on. We'll see what the first selectman does with the budget. Then it'll go to council, then it'll come to us, and then by then we'll have a good idea of what the town side looks like and see what our overall increase is and fund balance and all this fun stuff, and we'll start doing some math and figure out where we're at. But I give the Board of Ed a lot of credit for at least taking a stab at it, realizing it was a big number, and it is. I think nobody's arguing that. It's just a matter of, can we get it through? Can we get it passed? And can we not be in a situation where things are being cut at the end, where they're losing things that are really going to hurt the education system? So that was kind of my message I sent, on behalf of myself and the board, and look forward to getting it in another 6-8 weeks. Will be coming to us, and we'll have some fun. So, Joe, I appreciate all the hard work and really appreciate the communication and the always being with us. That was not something we've had in town for a lot of years. It makes a big difference. It really does. It certainly gives me comfort on what you're doing over there, on what, the intent is, what we're thinking, and it makes for a smoother world. So really appreciate the time and the effort you put into that. Thanks for showing up with us.
Thank you.
Anybody have any other questions for Joe?
Works both ways. It's helpful for me.
It does. Yeah, no, open dialogue always helps. It really does. We're all on the same team. Some people forget that sometimes.
Mike, this is Mary. Can I ask Joe a question, please?
Of course. That's why he's here.
Hey, Joe, I was looking at the year-to-date budget report and just refresh my memory. The aides are significantly under because for the first half of the year. Do we anticipate spending that other $900,000 this year on the aides?
Are you pulling that up, Ron?
Yeah, give me a sec. Let me just.
It's on the first page of the Board of Education.
You need that. No, I have a really good one. Yeah, and it's actually run by the competitor.
Maybe something's missing in the requisitions because it's zero. We've spent $600,000 for the first 6 months, and we've got like $900,000 left yet.
Yeah, those. I think part of the answer there lies in the fact that the paras are it's for para educators, our aides, para educators. They are their salaries are not encumbered ahead of time because they're hourly employees. I think that's why there's the zero for encumbrances.
So is your thought, Joe, that it's going to be we're going to underspend that account?
I can come back with a better answer. I'd rather kind of dig into it with Ron.
Yeah,
we're close.
Yeah, it's about what, 40% right now?
Yeah, just under 40%.
38. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, just about 40.
I'll tell you what, if you want to give me a couple minutes, let me just drill into the detail. I just want to see how many payrolls are.
That's what I'm wondering. What was the last payroll that got captured here?
Okay. That was my only question on that. Thank you.
Anybody have anything else for Joe? All right. I think the last thing on our agenda is funds. Ron, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to call out there.
What's that on the quarterly?
Yeah.
No, I mean, we put that in your it's every quarter we give you the full balance sheets for all the funds. So nothing really I want to call out specifically. If anyone's got any questions, the only thing is on the town pension, it's probably not up to date. We usually we've been a little behind in booking that, and that's just booking it from the statements from Wells Fargo that we review quarterly with the pension committee. So that's not up to date. I'll just call that out.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on the funds? All right.
Mike, just give me a sec. Let me see if I can get an answer from Mary now. Mike, I've got one, while Ron's doing that, I've got one question on an unrelated subject at the moment. We received an email with an EMS building update.
Yes.
Information, and late today, so I really, admittedly, I haven't had a chance to go through it. But is there some takeaway that?
It's really just to keep you guys up to date.
It's just to keep us informed. Exactly. Yeah. It's
okay.
I mean, certainly if you have any specific questions, I could try to answer them, or we could, myself or the first selectman could go back to the committee to get them answered. But it's really just, to keep you guys abreast of the project.
Okay. And like I said, I haven't had a chance to go through it to ask any questions. I just wanted to know before we ended the meeting if there was any issue,
nothing significant.
Any takeaway that we needed to know.
No, it's more just an updating.
Fine.
And they like to keep us in council on aware of everything until it closes everything out. But and there was nothing that looked out of place to me that I noticed on the quick. Again, I didn't dive in deep, but I did read it quickly.
So again, I think the answer there is, again, they're more paid, for 40%. It's if you look at the end of December, we're shy of we're not quite 50% of the way through the school year, correct, Joe? So that's probably more based on days worked. So
okay, thank you.
I would yeah. I think that's what I mentioned last month.
You can condense
but I wouldn't expect to go over in that account, Mary. I don't think we're probably tracking a little bit of a surplus, but so I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yep. Thank you, Ron.
Okay.
I can put another shelf in there if you want another shelf. No, I'll do it. I got it.
All right. Anything else anybody got? Otherwise, I think we can ask for a motion.
Steve Kirsch, motion to adjourn.
Very good.
Rebecca.
Thank you, Steve.
Oh, we're all done.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate everything. Hopefully, some of us will be in person next month.